All right, let's dive into something that's at the absolute core of building iOS apps, the UIKit layout system. You know, if you've ever found yourself fighting with jerky animations or UI that just doesn't behave the way you expect, then you are in exactly the right place. We're going to turn all that confusion into confidence.
So if you're an iOS developer, I'm sure you've been here. You spend hours, maybe even days, getting an animation just right. It looks perfect in your head, but when you run it, it stutters, it jumps, or it just snaps into its final position with no animation at all. It is one of the most common and, frankly, most frustrating problems we face. But the solution is surprisingly straightforward.
Well, the good news is you can stop pulling your hair out. Solving this problem, and so many others, really just comes down to understanding the relationship between three fundamental methods. Once you master these, you'll pretty much master your UI's behavior.
Okay, so these are the three heavy hitters: setNeedsLayout, layoutIfNeeded, and layoutSubviews. Let's break down exactly what each one of these does, and maybe more importantly, when you should be using them.
So, first things first. How do we even tell the system that something needs to change? Well, we do it by requesting an update. And that's where setNeedsLayout comes in.
So what exactly does this method do? It doesn't actually perform a layout update itself. All it does is mark a view's layout as dirty. Think of it like you're just raising a little flag to tell UK, hey, over here, something has changed and you'll need to recalculate my layout, whenever you get a chance. It's a polite request, not a demand.
Now, the key word here, and you really got to remember this, is asynchronous. This method does not trigger an immediate update, which is exactly why it's so efficient and lightweight. You can call it over and over again without worrying about performance. It's your go-to method anytime you change constraints, tweak a view's frame, or update any content that might affect its size.
Okay, to make this super clear, let's use an analogy we can all relate to. Calling setNeedsLayout is like looking at a messy room and saying to yourself, yeah, I'll clean my room later. You've made a mental note that it needs to be done, but you're not dropping everything to do it this very second.
But sometimes later just doesn't cut it, right? What if you need that update to happen right now? Well, that brings us to our next tool, forcing an immediate update with layoutIfNeeded.
This method is the complete opposite of setNeedsLayout. It is a direct, synchronous command. It basically tells the system, hey, stop what you're doing, check if this view's layout is marked as dirty. If it is, update it right now. I'll wait.
And this is absolutely crucial. It's synchronous. That means your code literally stops and waits for the layout pass to complete. And here's the other key part. It does nothing if the layout isn't already dirty. This is the secret sauce for those smooth animations. When you put layoutIfNeeded inside a uv.animate block, you're telling UIKit to animate all the frame changes from the old state to the new one you're forcing it to calculate.
All right, so let's go back to our room cleaning analogy. If setNeedsLayout was the calm, I'll clean it later, then layoutIfNeeded is that moment of panic when you find out guests are coming over in 5 minutes, and you yell, I need to clean it right now! It's immediate, it's urgent, it's a command.
So yeah, this slide just nails the difference. It really is that simple. setNeedsLayout is a polite, asynchronous request. Please update when you can. layoutIfNeeded is an assertive, synchronous command. Update right now. One is a plan, the other is an action. Okay, so we've covered how to ask for an update and how to demand one. But where does the actual work, the calculation, happen? That brings us to our third and final method, which is where all the magic really takes place: layoutSubviews. Think of layoutSubviews as the engine room. This is the method that the system itself calls when it's time to do the heavy lifting. This is where it runs all the calculations to set the final size and position of your view and all of its children. It's the implementation of the update we've been talking about. Okay, this brings us to the golden rule. If you remember one thing about this method, let it be this: you never call layoutSubviews directly. Seriously, it's your job to tell the system that a layout is needed using the other two methods. It's the system's job to decide when and how to call this one. So, you're probably thinking, if I can't call it, what good is it? Well, you don't call it, you override it. In your custom views, this is where you put all your manual layout code, for those times when auto layout just won't cut it. Just always remember to call super.layoutSubviews right at the beginning of your implementation.
And to bring our analogy home, layoutSubviews is the moment you're actually cleaning the room. It's not the plan, it's not the demand, it is the work itself. It's the vacuuming, the dusting, the scrubbing. It's the action that results in a clean room.
All right, we've looked at all the individual pieces of the puzzle. Now let's put them all together and see the whole picture. The complete layout flow from start to finish.
Okay, so here's the entire flow from start to finish. Step 1. Your code does something that affects the layout, like changing a constraint. Step 2. You immediately call setNeedsLayout to raise that dirty flag. Step 3. UIKit sees the flag and schedules an update for the next run loop cycle. Step 4 is optional, but it's the critical one for animations. You call layoutIfNeeded to force that update to happen immediately. And finally, step 5, as part of that update, the system calls layoutSubviews to do all the math and update the frames.
And here it is, our whole analogy in one place. It's so simple when you see it like this. setNeedsLayout is the plan, layoutIfNeeded is the demand, and layoutSubviews is the work. Just remember that, the plan, the demand, and the work. It's really that simple.
All right, let's bring it all home. What's the big takeaway here? How do we go from feeling confused by the layout system to feeling totally confident about it?
It's really this simple. Think of these 3 methods as your go-to layout toolkit. You use setNeedsLayout whenever you need to politely request a future layout update. You use layoutIfNeeded when you need to force an update right now, especially inside those animation blocks. And you only override layoutSubviews when you need to write your own custom layout logic.
So by really getting this flow, the request, the command, and the work, you're no longer at the mercy of the layout engine. You're in the driver's seat. You're in control of your UI. The only question left is, are you ready to go out there and build some smoother, more reliable UIs?